Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM24 Yeti, episode number 19. We're still in Denmark. .pro. This is the race that saw us get a victory, our second in the Pop 3 category. Last time it was Hopkins. Now we carry on from here in the final 26 kilometers of stage number 4 of this one. There was a time trial involved, so we are not in a position for a potential GC win, at least not without other successes here. The breakaway's just been caught, and we're at 25k to go. Pace is just lifting for the first time. It's allowing for the heart rate to come down a little bit, but still just high enough that we're not really seeing that recovery. It's come down about 10 beats. Mabungo's not going to make it much longer, but he seems to be recovering pretty fast under the circumstances right now, and I think I almost want to get things moving sooner rather than later, because this is allowing a lot of riders to recover, which is not what I want. I protected guys for this very reason. So we're going to form up early. Profile: 2 little hills before the intermediate sprint and 2 little hills before the finish line. So Mabungo comes out front, starts setting tempo here, and already is enough of a tempo to comfortably get us out front, so we can actually back off just a little bit, as we've got quite a ways to go yet, plus a bit of climbing. And this is the kind of profile I like. Reason why I like this profile is it's that in-between, it's that hybrid. It's considered a sprint stage, but it's punchy. It's a double punchy finish. And that suits my guys better than the pure sprinters or the pure punchy guys that are here. So as we have 16k to go, Mabungo hanging in there. Got a couple guys making a little effort here. I think they're trying to attack realistically, but we're okay letting them get just off the front as Mabungo still doing the work. 15k. He's a very weak rider, so his 90 is not somebody else's 90. Sabanda takes over. We don't need a 90 effort. Peloton has split, 39 left, 3 off the front. It's yo-yoing at the moment though. We're down to 2 off the front. Heidemann, Christian. 24 seconds ahead. 12k to go. And here comes the hard chase, or others trying to attack, trying to form a group. This is where I'm glad that we have enough oomph to kind of counter this. It's all back together. All back together, and we have 9k left as Funzavith is going to take over. Bungo can give us an idea of how stretched things are, which isn't overly stretched, which just shows that my pace is not as severe as I would want it to be. 6.9. Sabbath, let's start speeding up. Others are coming up beside us here, but a lot of them are down to the 3 riders, and we still have more than that, and we have the hills to navigate, so this is starting to look better situationally. Regatta, let's come through. 4.5k, 4 riders. Double climb, here we go. Regatta leading over the top. That puts a lot of those sprinters under pressure. It does put Hopkins under pressure as well, but Regatta can now sprint it out. Soft sprint. Abdullah, Walters, and Hopkins still in good position. On to Abdullah. Abdullah, are you... I clicked sprint a long time ago. I clicked sprint so much earlier with him. Oh, right in the middle of the button too. Right in the middle. Dead center on that S. Nothing happened. It took about 800 meters before I was like, why is he not coming off his wheel? Why is he still not coming off his wheel? Sean Flynn takes the stage. Oh, man. I had my 5th rider start their fitness peak entering today, and 4 of those 5 riders did get their expected +5, because this is also our objective here. So as we get going, Mabungo at his 51 flat can't even get to the front of the field right now. 15k to go though, so plenty of time, but he's not going to spend that much time up front. We're just going to have to move on to Funzavith. I don't want Funzavith going full gas, but Mabungo just was not providing the pace necessary for this flat, kind of short stage. It was only 150k and mostly flat throughout, so Peloton has split 81 riders. That's tempo for you. It's been quite high recently, and this is our chance because the breakaway's been caught. There's that last little hill. We're gonna hit that last hill one more time. Folks, Evans is already done. We're at 10.7, but we're waiting on Regatta right now, and I'll get Regatta taken over here as we come out of this corner. 9.5k. Gel, 8.5. Okay, starting to speed up. 8k to go. Regatta, let's go full gas. Walter's only got a +3 today, so not the greatest. Okay, on to Sabanda. Bungo, why don't you drop to the back? 5.3. 5k, 4 riders. There's that last hill. Sabando up and over the top. 4.3. We're very well positioned, but we got a lot of really good sprinters here. Sabanda, soft sprinting. And Abdullah sprinting at 2.5k. He's got a great jump. Walters comes through late. Walters is still catching him, and now going Walters. Walters leading out Hopkins. You've got this double right-hander. Hopkins coming through. For one, Abdullah got a really good jump. Hopkins is going to get another. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. We got our second win of this Tour of Denmark. It's a Dot Pro, so we are for the third time already. We've only done this once with the .1s. Of what remains, Asia is a weak group. There's quite a few countries, but they are all 3-1 countries. The 2 European groups that remain are strong, but very small groups. Only 3 nations or 2 nations in those 2 groups. Africa has a little bit of quality and numbers pretty similar to Asia. So basically anything but Asia would be a good draw right now. And it's going to be Northern Europe, which actually includes Central Europe on this one. Just 2 nations unlocked here. It is Finland and the Slovak Republic. Both are 3-2 nations. This was the second best option of what was available to us here, or maybe the third best option of what was available, but it was one of the good ones, so we'll take it. So with that stage victory for Hopkins, the general, he jumps to 10th place. He gained 20 seconds over those couple, and he had only been 38 seconds behind, so he'd had a pretty good prologue compared to others, but it's still only was good enough to crack the top 10. But it was good enough to win the points classification, take 3rd in the young riders classification, and we as a team took 8th purely based off of that prologue performance. Red Walters has won 3 races this season. The first one was for one of our 2 Pop 1 nations, so it was not anything in the regular system. But his second win was for a Pop 2, and his home nation got that boost. Then his third win was a Dot Pro, so a Pop 3, and his nation once again got that boost. We were 2 for 2 on those opportunities. Hopkins, not so lucky. He's now had back-to-back victories at Dot Pro level, which was Pop 3, but Bermuda is still a 1-1 nation at this point in time. My shortlist is shaping up nicely. There are plenty of riders that are getting into those 70s and a couple guys in the mid-70s, at least in a few places. But the huge majority of these riders are unavailable right now. Cutting that shortlist down, we get to those few Canadians who all said they are not interested. But from there, we have a decent 3.5-star option in Stochek? Yeah, sure. We'll say Stochek. 70 sprint puts him pretty similar to guys we have now, though. 68 hills. He could be a slight upgrade. But, I don't know. He's 26. And we've already done our signings. He's not going to have much interest, if any interest. He very well might have no interest at all and be like the other 3. But even though most of those riders are unavailable right now, there are 2 that are available, both Finnish, that have me pretty excited as prospects. One of them a little bit on the here and now, and that's Grönlund. Grunlund is 20 years old. He's already a 3-star sprinter, as in he's at our level. He's a 69 sprint. He's 68 acceleration, so he comes in very similar to the sprinters I have right here, right now. But he's got massive potential, not just in the sprint, but to be a decent all-around rider. On the punchy side, can handle the cobbles a bit, will have a good flat rating, and won't be a horrendous climber. He won't be a good climber, but that is serviceable to a pretty competitive level. We're going to try to sign him. Checking in on that budget and where it's at right now, it's behind the face cam, but we are currently at 77, rounded off, 1,000 per month. 42,000 of that for riders. We have 34,000 remaining. That's our budget. So 76,000 is the budget. We have 42,000 right now, so 34,000 remaining. I have not re-signed any of the staff, but it does look like I'm probably going to spend about 5 more K on 2 additional riders. Now, he's going to be good fast, so we definitely want to go for a 3-year. Hope he can sign. He will not. He's okay with the salary, but we need to be plus somewhere somehow because the interest is not too high. How about we turn him into a sprinter? He's definitely got the most potential. We've got some options. I don't need to bump the salary just yet. That didn't even bump him. So 3K. I can't go back down. That was enough to get him signed. So 3K. And my other target is a bit of an all-around guy. He's with the UAE youth team, 18 years of age, 4.5-star overall prospect, with a lot of that going to a Bear Door rating of 5. But that's not the only place. If that was the only place, we probably wouldn't bother signing him now. We'd pick him up later when he's a bit closer to it. I mean, he's got some mid-60s, but he's nothing fantastic now. This is a prospect. But with that time trial, right there with the Bear Door rating, maybe 1 point lower. With the Hills rating, maybe 2 points lower than that. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's going to get like an 81 flat rating, about an 80 time trial, and maybe a 78 Hills. That's quality. That is quality, and he's going to have good acceleration and decent sprint, and he's pretty much an all-around prospect that I think it's worth picking up here and now. But with as far as he has to go, we might just sign him for 1 year at this point and try to renegotiate next year. Not a fan of the length, but is a fan of the salary. I think I'd rather have the 2,500 at this point than bother with the year. So we'll take the 3-year deal then. That's enough to get him signed on the minimum, so I think it's worthwhile on that part, though it might cost us in a few years. Squad is definitely starting to get a little bit bloated as we are heading from 13 riders to 18. But you can see that, this year we barely even had a mark. It's not even looking like an actual web, but next year it is. It's small, but it is a web. So we are headed in the right direction. I think I said this in a previous episode, maybe 1 or 2 back. The reality about next season is that we're not going to be astronomically better. We're going to have better depth. And so I think next season, as we will definitely still be continental, but there's going to be a lot of better riders on expiring contracts that will be available. And I think we could be making our way towards Continental Pro in a year. But as we'll still be Continental next year, it's finishing off Pop 2s and Pop 3s. At this point, I literally have 1 day of Pop 3 racing, .pro racing, left on the calendar. Last day of the season. I have 2 stage race pop point 1s left, so the Pop 2s, and I have, I think, 2 1.1s, so 1 day stage races for that. So I've still got a handful of opportunities to try to finish off some of the Pop 2s this year. We've only won 1 of those, amazingly, while we've won 3 of the .pros. But there are still, I think, 6 more victories that I'm trying to seek between the Pop 2s and the Pop 3s. I doubt that I'm going, I know mathematically I can't get all of the .pros this season, so it's going to roll over into next season is trying to finish those off. That means next season could go pretty quickly, especially once I check those off. Once I'm done with those accomplishments and with a little more depth next season, it's going to be harder to find races for quality riders than it is going to be this year, where it's a little bit of a problem to not try to overload our key riders. But with a handful of days left now, it's going to be a little easier to kind of bring at least a bulk of the quality that we have. But we're going from 2 3-star guys to 7 next season. And we only started this year with 1, was it? The other one developed very early in the year to a 3-star guy, or were they both 3 stars from the beginning? Either way, it's 2.5 stars almost down to the bottom of the list, and there's only 4 future prospects that are left in that area. As for expiring contracts, that's going to be a thing to keep on, especially as we're up to 18 riders. We don't need to get much bigger than this long term. I mean, 20, 22 riders when we eventually get to World Tour. I mean, we're not far off from that now. We can just about handle 3 races next season in a back to back, everybody involved. Walters has an expiring contract next year. Hopkins, Batsekin, Abdullah, Regatta, and Shembri. And Shembri's slow development suggests that he's probably not going to be around. We're also going to have to analyze, because we have better options now. My short list with the new faces, the new names, I need to reassess that one and drop probably the 5 or so weakest prospects off of there, especially if they're not going to be much better than what we have now. But I think with those expiring contracts, we should be able to hit that Continental Pro. But it's still going to take us 1 more year. But we're almost to 2 stars now from absolutely horrendous. And, this year we've managed to get from a little over a star at the start of the year to 1.5 now, as we've definitely had some development at our top end. I think we were closer to 1.5 star than I'm giving myself credit for. We haven't had that much development this year, or where we have had it has been kind of bottom end guys that are just starting to catch up. A lot of new faces coming next season though, but a lot more talent. I mean, it's going to be pretty easy to compete in multiple areas. We've got some climbers, we've got lots of sprinters now, so we don't have to bring the same sprint team every time. That is going to do it for this episode, though, as the Tour of Turkey, I think, is up next, or something along those lines. It will be in Turkey for the next race. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.